Alright, so hello and welcome back to another epic segment on the Black Suit Tonight Africa Rising channel. My name is BWT-African, and if you are new to this channel, kindly subscribe, like, and don't forget to leave your comment in the description box. Alright, so today, if you've been here also before, you definitely know that this is quite unconventional. In fact, you can see we screwed the background somewhere. Yeah, screw the background. Let's do with the facts. Let's go and deep dive into the main issue today. I saw this tweet and the person said the only reason why the pyramids are still in Egypt is because they were too big to be carried into somewhere in a British museum. Yes, I also subscribe to that argument, and this is my evidence. Do you know that in somewhere in the 19th century the British proposed to build a big and a long highway from Cairo to Johannesburg in South Africa? Well, highway from Egypt to South Africa, if not to carry the pyramids, I don't know what they were using it for. Well, someone might say, what is your rationale? Because, well, if they needed to build a road that will carry the pyramids, definitely it has to maybe pass through Tripoli and cross the ocean, deep under the ocean, pass through France, and then into the UK. Well, the British are not stupid. If they do that, the moment they start building, people will know, and the pyramid, people will hide it. So they have to, divert the channel as if they are building to South Africa far away from their point, and then, yeah, so that's my evidence. They really wanted to take away the pyramid, but first they have to bring it to South Africa, and when they can't see it no more, people will say, okay, the last destination was in South Africa, so well, Africans have stolen their own pyramids. Common sense will kill me one day. Alright, so that's my evidence, but well, because we are talking about the highway from Cairo to Egypt, why don't we talk about the current situation of that highway now? It is called the Trans-African Highway number 4. Well, that's because there are other highways. Well, talk of the Cairo to Dakar Highway. Cairo to Dakar. So there's the Cairo to Dakar Highway. There is also Dakar to Lagos Highway. Why are all roads leading to Dakar anyway? Well, first of all, they speak French. Their country, well, Senegal, also sound a bit sexy. Maybe they are the only African female country in the world, and Senegalese women aren't so bad. Alright, so all roads are leading to Senegal. This road number 4, which is set to begin from Cairo, well, now they've been an extension, so it's going to begin from the port city of Alexandria. Yeah, that city that Alexander conquered and named after himself. Alexandria, which will pass through about 9 different African countries before it reaches South Africa. Well, that's huge, and that's the main point of touch. So before we deep dive into the current situation of that road, subscribe, chill, and let me take my eyes to a break, and I'll be right back. Now we are right back. Let's go and deep dive into this highway that is set to transform Africa, especially in this African Continental Free Trade Agreement or Free Trade Area that is going on right now. So the over 6,400-mile highway, in equivalent to kilometers, that will be about 10,000 kilometers of a road. Wow, that's long. That's pretty long. Which is set to cost about 1.7 billion US dollars. I mean, read my lips, billions. 1.7 billion US dollars to construct this road from Alexandria, well, straight to Cairo, and then passing through about 9 different African countries. Well, it's set to transform the African continent, especially those in the Eastern African zone. Now, this road is expected to link Egypt, Sudan, Kenya, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa. Now, Egypt, which obviously initiated this project, officially commenced or launched this project in 2015. As we speak now, they have been able to build this road straight from Alexandria, passing through Cairo to the border of Sudan. Now, this is how it's going to be built. Even though this highway is going to be financed by the African Union and the African Development Bank, most of the countries are also supposed to, well, think about how they are going to, resolve other environmental issues that are surrounded with the construction of highways. Now, speaking about Tanzania, Kenya, and all those countries which have wildlife and game reserves, well, they really have to do a deep thinking as to how the status of the wildlife or the game are going to be after the construction of this road. Well, Cairo or Egypt has already finished constructing theirs from Alexandria to the border of Sudan. So these countries are going to also build from their border to the border of the next country. So for instance, Egypt has now reached the border of Sudan. Sudan will build straight from that border where Egypt left off to the border of South Sudan. So South Sudan will also continue building from where Sudan left off, from that border to the border south to Ethiopia, and just like that. So they are just building it country by country until all are linked to Johannesburg, South Africa? Well, I think this is huge for two main obvious reasons. First of all, the British didn't get to build it, and secondly, it's going to boost intra-African trade, especially in view of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, as we speak, or should I say currently, Africans trade within themselves about 15% of their global world trade, which is very, very, very mild and minimal. I mean, if a continent or an area of countries is supposed to be built, they have to trade, about 50 to 60% within themselves. Talk about China and how they are pulling all other Asian economies along. Talk about the United States and how they have been able to pull all the American countries along. Talk about Europe and how they've been able to put themselves together as one country and pulling themselves along. There have to be something like that, that we are trading within ourselves about 50 to 60% as African countries before we can see, the benefit or the direct benefit of actually trading in the first place. So this road, I'm so excited about this road because it's going to really, apart from the Eastern African blocks of countries. So obviously we know that negotiation for the free trade agreement kicked off in 2015. The agreement is expected to create an entity unifying commerce, the common market for Eastern and Southern Africa, SADC, that the South African Development Community, and the EAC, East African Community. Connectivity among African countries will inevitably boost trade among them and create jobs for the youth. I think I cannot overemphasize the benefit of this highway that will link Egypt to Johannesburg. Well, apart from the fact that Egypt, which initiated this project, actually have their own, selfish interest to dominate Africa, of which I don't want to touch on it. But since the highway is a two-way affair, it's not going to be just one way straight from Cairo to South Africa and not a way back. So those on the other way that are also seeking to reach the Egyptian market, of course, Egypt also can't also refuse them. So I don't think I have to really overemphasize this. The fact that we've heard that there's going to be a road straight from Cairo to South Africa, should actually make you really happy that now Africa is sort of integrating among themselves. And that is a huge thing that I don't want to let your ears go off without knocking it and drumming it in. Well, first of all, someone might say this is no news because already there's a road from Tripoli, that is in Libya, straight to South Africa. Yes, Johannesburg. I don't know why all roads are either leading to Dakar or to Johannesburg, but since it's in Africa, I don't even care. But obviously, this is really going to be good for the continent of Africa. Well, I hope those that have been, passed into the desert to get to the Tripoli, speaking about Ghana, Nigerians, and those West Africans that wouldn't stop, taking that high risk to Europe. Now, I think East Africans are also doing even more. But I don't want to talk about brain drain now, but obviously, it sent me butterflies in my tummies. I don't want to talk about it. The way we are losing our youth in the northern coast of Libya is upset. But I hope they don't hear about this, that there's a straight road, else we are doomed. All our youth are going to run to Europe, of which I obviously don't want to happen. But what I want people to know is to take the hope from the fact that Africa is integrating in road. We have ways and means of already transporting, that is by flight and by sea. But obviously, sea transport is mostly delayed by, port delays. And secondly, you don't actually want your goods to arrive smelling fishy and all shaky. And thirdly, the most important, transporting your goods by flight, it has to go through a lot of check. Customs might even seize it, and the most important, it is very expensive, outrageously expensive. So road transport is really the way, and train transport. I hope now that these roads are going to be built, rail transportation is all going to be revamped in Africa. Let's find a road that means circulate around all the 54 sovereign nations in Africa. And let's see where Africa will be in the next. My name is Bakri Bernard Boma. Kindly subscribe if you are new to this channel, and let's grow this channel. Thank you for coming. I will see you in my next segment. Until that,